welcome to the podcast that has been attempting to record for 5 days now.
5 days. And I have the hiccups.
What a week this has been for the verified therapist. It has, yeah. So,
It's been a struggle. Like, we're struggling so hard. And I feel like that we say that every week. And then we're like, yeah, we've just really been struggling. But this week has been the week.
I hope that didn't pick that up, but I think Millie just sneezed or Josh sneezed. Somebody sneezed and it was really loud. I hope it didn't pick it up on the recording.
No, it didn't.
Oh gosh. Well, we are going to just dive right in.
Yeah.
To what our topic for the week. Everything that we recorded, my wonderful impression of The Walking Dead didn't record. I'm so sorry that you guys didn't get to see that. We're keeping in every hiccup. Every one of them.
I can't.
They're the cameras. Go.
There's tears coming out of my eyes right now, and I really can't tell what kind of tears they are at this point. Oh, okay.
At this point, I think we're a little bit delusional because we've also been trying to record this for an hour now.
Yeah.
And nothing is working. And so we're finally just recording. So we're just let's just jump right into it.
Let's just jump right in. So this past week, last Friday, the Tortured Poets Department dropped. Has that really, because I feel like it's been longer than that, but I guess it's just been a week tomorrow.
A week and like 4 hours, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that feels insane because I feel like that we've known this album our whole lives.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we've listened to it so many times since then.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many theories going around. And we have our own theories, which is like what we're going to talk about today. It's kind of our theories behind a lot of the songs. And so we're just going to do kind of like our own take on a lot of these songs and kind of like the meaning behind a lot of these songs and what we think, like theorizing what she meant by these things. And then maybe later on in another episode, we'll get into kind of like the deep lore and do a deep dive of why we think that these songs mean this.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of like background, and like if you haven't been following it for years, it can be easy to get lost in the sauce of it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I definitely think that we'll kind of go back and deep dive into more of that. But I think this, we're really trying to focus on the album itself and the story that the album is telling, because I do think that there's a story there.
Yeah. And I think it was, her holding up the twos throughout this whole thing and kind of like always talking, like she obviously always knew that it was going to be a double album. So she dropped the second part of it at 2 a.m. I woke up to that. I listened to the album all the way through, went to sleep, woke up with a text message from Autumn that was from like 2 a.m. And she was like, she dropped another.
No rest for the wicked. Like you can't sleep. Like what I learned by the fact that I fell asleep for a little bit and woke up and there was another one is that you can't sleep when Taylor is doing things like this. So next time, take the day off.
Yeah. So you can like sit there and just listen to the album all day. Because that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have any clients on Friday, so I just had it on repeat.
Just listened. Took it all in. Because I think I've told you this, like when I listen to her albums, I don't really process, like I do, but I don't process the first listen. Like I started obviously with the first song on the album, and then I kind of bounced to different titles that like stood out to me through all the press of it all. Um, but then like as you listen and it gets more cohesive, you know, you just kind of get deeper and deeper. I just feel like it's one of those albums that it's like to quote Shrek at a time like this. It's like an onion, you know, you peel back the layers of it and you get a new layer every time that you listen to it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Because I mean that's exactly what happened. Like, and there's still parts of these songs that, you know, I listen and I'm just like, oh, that's something that I didn't catch on to like the first 15 times that I heard that.
Yeah. I think it's one of my it's my favorite, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that is not an easy thing for me to say because I hold on to Reputation with my bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that this is my favorite album of hers.
Yeah. It is, it's so beautifully done too. And like these are the lyrics that I'm not saying that she's held back. Um, but we also haven't experienced this kind of heartbreak from her in a long time. So we haven't really seen this like deep, cutthroat, stab you in the heart. You're going to sit there and sob your eyes out crying to these songs since
Yeah.
like Red, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah. It's giving all too well.
It is like every
Mhm.
song is giving
Mhm.
that like deep cutthroat style.
Mhm.
And the raw writing of it too.
Mhm. It's so good. She is so good. Um, she's a poet.
Mhm. Yep, she is a poet, and we're not, and that's why we are podcasters covering it.
Exactly. That's why you hear me hiccuping during my podcasting.
Hey, it happens.
It does, yeah.
It just shows you're human.
Mhm. Yeah. But we'll crack it up to that. It it does show that. Yeah.
And it shows your stress too, because everything that we just went through.
I got stress hiccups in the middle of resetting my internet trying
Yep.
to record a podcast.
Mm-mm. Well, which song would you like to start with? So I was thinking like this episode, we talk about like our favorite songs and do a deep dive into our favorite songs and just
Mhm.
what each line means to us.
So, I know that we kind of, like, share the sentiment of the black dog being
Mhm.
our favorite one, so maybe we should start there.
Yeah. Yeah. So like let's pull up like all the lyrics
Mhm,
to the Black Dog.
mhm. And said this before, like, I know we just referenced All Too Well. All Too Well, to me, even musically, you could hear the story of it.
Mhm.
Almost like you could envision it even if you didn't have the lyrics, you could just kinda use the music. And I feel like that the Black Dog is like that too.
Yeah.
Um, I just feel like that it kinda tells a story and it builds the emotion, you know?
Mhm. For sure, I can see that.
Mhm,
It's you have talked about like the gradual like build up and
mhm.
everything, and so kind of like the. I mean, first of all, everyone should go listen to the album and like hear these songs.
Yes.
Um, when I first listened to this song, I was like, "There's no way that homie shared her location with Maddie Healy."
Horrible decision.
But again, you know, kind of like, well, we haven't talked about it in this one, but we did in the one that didn't save. Part of my theory about the whole album in general is like the double album is a double meaning because I believe each song is a double meaning because she experienced two very significant heartbreaks just in a span of a couple months. You know, ending a 6 year relationship to going with Maddie, which sounds like there was like some kind of like 10 year off and on type situationship going on there, and that she was kind of like always hoping at some point that her and Maddie would get back together, or, you know, whatever the situation was. So I think there is like a double meaning, and there's two people that she's talking about in each of
Mhm.
these songs.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe this first verse is more towards Joe, and then the second
Mhm.
verse is more towards Maddie, or, you know, it's just both of them intertwined together.
Right. Yeah. Because I agree with you. I feel like that the location thing is more of like someone you've been dating for 6 years, versus yeah, I just think that like we don't really know the depth of like her and Maddie's relationship. So like I don't want to say like, oh, why would she have his location? But like it makes more sense for her to have Joe's location than his, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they're like, this is the Black Dog, for those of you who don't
Mhm.
know, is a like bar, pub, whatever
Mhm.
they call it in London. So
Mhm.
it could be either one because they're both British.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, in it, it says, you know, I am someone who, until recent events you shared your secrets with and your location, you forgot to turn it off.
Mhm.
And so I watch as you walk into some bar called the Black Dog and pierce new holes in my heart. You forgot to turn it off. So pretty much like you forgot to turn off these feelings from the relationship, just like you forgot to turn off your fucking location from me, bro.
Mhm. Yep. And just like I don't like that was heartbreaking to me because it's like also like what I heard in that too is like now I have to watch you live your life
Yeah.
apart from me. You know, like I have to see where you're going and see what you're doing, and I'm not a part of that, you
Mhm.
know?
And then, you know, in the chorus of the song, you know, she
Mhm.
says, when someone plays the starting line and you jump up, but she's too young to know this song that was intertwined in the magic fabric of our dreaming.
Mhm.
So before it even goes into our favorite part of the song, just that line in general
Yeah.
shows like, hey, it's a habit.
Mhm.
You know, like the next line is, you know, she says, old habits die screaming. And that's kind of the
Mhm.
theme of the song, of like old habits, and everything is a
Right.
habit that you did
Mhm.
because you did it with this person. So, like,
Yeah.
when the starting line started to play, you guys
Mhm.
would jump up and start singing. And then you turn around to this person and it's not that person anymore. And you're like, oh shit,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's a habit.
Right. And I think like and like I connected with the song on a personal level because I think the whole vibe of it is like after you have this like heart-wrenching thing happen, you move through life and it's you don't understand how you're moving through life, you know, and she has a part in there where she's like, I just don't understand how you don't miss me. And that's like that's like a sad line because it's like it's trying to like reconcile in her brain how she got here, how they got there, and how this person doesn't seemingly feel the same way that she does, doesn't feel that same heartbreak that she does.
Yeah. And she's like, I just don't understand at all.
Mhm. Mhm.
The part that like made me be like, oh, well, maybe this is about Maddie. It's kind of
Mhm.
like how my rain soaked body was shaking.
Mhm.
And I was like, Maddie was at the rain show in Nashville, but also he was at that show in, was it New Jersey? Yeah, in New Jersey, where she had like the rainiest rain show ever, too. You
Mhm.
remember that?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
there for that.
Yeah.
Um, so, and you know, she probably ran off stage and went to him, not as
Yeah.
publicly as she did with Travis,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, like she was probably like rain soaked.
Mhm.
So that's where I was like, is this about Maddie?
And I was just looking at that part because we hear this theme with all of these songs.
Mhm.
Do You Hate Me? Was It Hazing? Like, For a Cruel Fraternity That I Pledged, like,
Yeah.
trying like, so Taylor's like I think she's got multiple themes in this
Mhm.
album, but, like, I think one of the themes that she carries is, like, this almost like, she's called it like a mutual manic episode, but it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like this whirlwind, passionate, crazy romance that almost is so elating and so passionate
Mm-hmm.
that you almost don't feel like it's real when it's over. Like, you don't feel like it happened. And so, like, we hear a lot of these songs, she's like trying to reconcile, like, again, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Were you out to get me? Were you trying to hurt me? Do you hate me? What is it?
Yeah. Like, what is this? You
Yeah.
know, like, and she says, like, one of the last lines of the song is, "I still can't believe it because old habits die screaming." And
Mhm.
so, like, essentially, like, what we're taking from a lot of this is whoever she's talking about in this song,
Mhm.
just the overarching theme of the album in general is like, I want to say, like, why the fuck did you ghost me?
Mhm. Yeah.
And just like leave me here to like fend for myself and in my own hurt.
And I really liked how she also um has this overarching, like, the stages of grief
Mhm.
theme as well, because, like, as you listen you can kind of put them in different places.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I can see how this could fit in depression. I can see how it could fit into anger.
Mhm.
But I can also see how it could fit into, like, I guess, is it like bargaining where you're like
Mhm.
kind of trying to figure things out? So I think that there's like multiple, like you said, I think that the whole thing is just there's so many meanings to just one thing.
I think how she did the track list too was very telling of grief in general because just in general, grief comes in waves. And sometimes it's going to be like a little wave, like lapping at your feet. And sometimes it's going to be like a big crushing wave that's going to knock you on your ass. And I think this is one of those big waves that knocks you on your ass. And at first you're like, oh, is this just like a little lap at the feet? And then like Jack's production of like old habits start screaming is just like the big wave coming. And it's
Mhm.
like, actually, I'm getting knocked on my ass.
Yeah. Mhm. And then on the set list right after this
Mhm.
is I'm Gonna Get You Back.
Yeah.
And so it's like we've gone from like this really like depression, like these waves of grief to like I don't really know if I'm going to marry you or if I'm going to take your bike out, but one of these days I'm going to get you back somehow.
Someday,
Mhm.
is it going to be, and it's just like the Olivia Rodrigo song too.
Mhm.
It's just kind of like, am I going to kick your ass and get revenge on you? Or are we going to get back together?
Mhm.
Let's see. Let's wait and
Well,
see.
stay tuned.
So, which I think that is a good transition into one of our other favorite songs, which is "The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived," because
Mhm.
that is like another song that fits into this category of like big wave comes in and knocks you on your ass,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you're like, "Holy mother!" Especially the bridge, because she just like doesn't hold back in the bridge,
She
and
does not.
she keeps going. And when I was listening to it the first time, I was like, "Okay,
Mhm.
okay." Holy shit, Taylor. Okay, we got like 3 more minutes of this song.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story of like this song is like she likens it to like you've been abducted by aliens
Mhm.
and they you really liked being abducted by aliens, like you thought it was really cool, it was a good experience, but then they just like shot you out and you're back on earth and you're going like, well, how am I supposed to like move on with life now knowing what it's like up there with the aliens, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how she described a lot of it. And like,
Mhm.
you know, another thing, and I'll point this out on the TikTok. We haven't posted it yet, but of how like this reminds me of, you know, like a CIA
Mhm.
mission. Like
Yeah.
whoever this was that hurt her was on a
Mhm.
mission and hung her up with like some like red string
Mhm.
secret mission style and
Yeah.
had her in the center and was like, okay, because that's where it comes like stab me with your push pins. That's my biggest take on it
Mhm.
is this is like her going back and doing her own investigative work of being like, was this all, what was this all for? I have no
Yeah.
idea. And like, she constantly asks a million questions throughout this song. Like, almost every line is a question.
I just had an epiphany when you said, you know, and you're right. She's asking the whole time, like, what was all this for? The first line of this one was any of it true?
Mm-hmm.
It's constant questions. The last line of the entire album is, and she finally understood what all the agony was for. Or one of the last parts. I don't know if that's the last line, but one of the last parts. So you're right. Like, she's doing this investigative thing the entire time, and then she gets to the manuscript at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a case closed.
Yep, case closed. I figured it
Okay.
out.
Sorry, back to the smallest man who ever lived. But like, when you said that, I was just like,
I mean, it could have multiple meanings too.
mm-hmm,
And I think this could be about multiple people, and there's different parts of it that I'm just like, could this also be about Scott Borchetta? Because, I mean, there's questions there too of like, why the fuck did you do this to me?
mm-hmm,
Like, why did you hurt me so deeply? And, you know, in the lyric video,
mm-hmm,
it does show it's kind of like CIA classified documents
mm-hmm,
of where they're slowly getting revealed, and they're showing you pieces, but some of it's blacked out. And as she sings, the pieces get unblacked out
mm-hmm,
with every line. And you see that in classified CIA documents that slowly get declassified and getting given to the public.
mm-hmm,
So I think that's like her theme of this song
mm-hmm.
is where she's really diving into the investigation. I think it's a very beautiful song, and I think she rips in a new one, whoever it's about. If it's about all of them,
I was gonna say it could be about all of them. It could be about her past. It could
yeah,
just be about like everybody, because I think partially because of Travis Kelce, because I think Travis Kelce might be it. But also, I think that she's gotten to this age. She's doing the Eras tour. That's the biggest thing, and she's 34.
yeah.
Like, and your brain just does something in your 30s. AKA, it's fully developed. There's science, whatever. But like, this could be her way of just being like, I'm just kind of done carrying all of this around, you know?
And I think that that goes into like the manuscript too, of like how like one of the last lines that she says in the
Mhm.
manuscript is just like, but it's not mine anymore. Like
Mhm.
this is, like you said,
Mhm.
case closed. This is all out into the world, and it's no longer mine. Like,
Mhm.
I might have felt this way at one time, but like now I don't. Holy shit, what was that? Okay,
Fireworks.
party. Um, yeah, the video part of this is fireworks just went off. Maybe that's how Taylor felt too when at the end
Yeah.
of this when she
Maybe she
got
was like, "Whoa." Because honestly now, and again, I don't know how much of it was with Travis is for Travis, not for Travis Kelce, but with Travis Kelce, whatever. But like, we see her like living right now. Like, she is out and she is happy,
Mhm.
or appears to be. I mean, we're about, I don't know, short a song on here that you just don't really know. But
Yeah.
like, she seems so just like happy and like lighter, like freer. And I think part of it is probably because she wrote this shit and she was like, I'm done. I can't write about this for the rest of my life. I can't do this forever.
Yeah. It's like very therapeutic. And that's why we
Mhm.
say in therapy, journaling is great. And to have a creative outlet like this, like I
Mhm.
feel like she can be one of the most emotionally healthy people because she has this creative outlet to
Mhm.
get all of her emotions out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, which one do you want to go into first? Who's Afraid of Little Old Me or But Daddy I Love Him?
Um, let's do Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, because I'm in a rageful mood today.
Okay. And they both go into both of those songs go into kind of like the parasocial relationship between Taylor and the fans. Who's
And you know, Taylor loves her fans more than
yeah.
like anything in the world. Taylor loves her fans. So I feel like this is the first time that we've seen her bite a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Kind of just be like, sit down. This is my
Mhm.
life.
Right.
And like Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, like this just shows her feelings, and it's so depressing to hear that like she's not allowed to have human emotions. So,
Mhm.
like, the first line of it is, like, "You don't get to tell me about sad."
Mhm.
Guess what? We don't. We don't get to tell her how to feel.
Yeah.
You know? It goes back to, like, I can do it with a broken heart too, of, like,
Mhm.
we have no idea how exactly she is feeling. So
Right.
let's stop trying to put emotions on her, because she could be
Mhm.
the happiest she's ever been, or she could be the saddest she's ever been, and we're not gonna know.
Right.
The only people that are gonna know is her, and
Mhm.
maybe close friends.
Right.
Probably Jack, because he's, like, listening to this.
Yeah.
He's listening to her and, like,
Yeah.
"Let me put a bop on I
Yeah.
can do it for her."
She probably, like, wrote it and was like, "This is gonna be a super depressing," and he was like, "No, wait. No, wait.
I got an
Let
idea.
me let me spin this idea."
And, like, just also with the song, like, "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me,"
Mhm.
the line that makes me, like, the most sad is she's like, "Is it a wonder I broke? Let's hear one more joke. So let's laugh until I cry."
Mhm.
It's not, "Let's laugh until we cry."
Mhm.
It's laugh until I cry, because if
Mhm.
you're gonna sit here and make fun of me and all of this, I'm gonna cry.
Mhm.
And you guys are gonna be laughing and having a good time, just like it reminds me of 2016 when
Mhm.
everyone was saying, "Fuck you, Taylor Swift," and
Mhm.
she was just like, "I haven't done anything."
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen that TikTok of her. It was during the playoffs, like the NFL playoffs, and she was like walking down the hallway to go see
Mhm.
Travis on the field, and someone in the
Yep.
hallway yells like, "You're running football" or something, and Taylor goes,
Mhm.
"I haven't done anything."
Yeah. 'Cause she's not.
She
She's not
hasn't.
done anything.
She's just
What
there supporting her boyfriend.
Right.
And so it's like in this song, you can hear her say, like, she says, "I was tame, I was gentle until the circus life made me mean."
Mhm.
Because if she's standing there not doing anything, supporting her boyfriend, and people are like, "You're running football," at some point you're gonna break. You're gonna be like, "Can people just shut the fuck up for 2
Right.
seconds and let me live my life?"
Well, you're gonna be like, "I can't do anything." Like, I can't
Yeah.
I feel like that she even okay, this trying to decide if I should go into this, but we'll just touch on it because
Mhm.
it makes me feel anger in my bones. So this album comes out, obviously,
Mhm.
and I open up my Facebook, first mistake, and all I see is like people being like, she's got all these explicit songs, um, that's blasphemous to God and blasphemous to Christians. And I'm like, she's not doing anything. She's not doing anything. She is not required to support your religious belief. She's
Mhm.
not required to be a role model for your 5-year-old child. She's not required to fit into this box that everyone tries to fit her in. And in this song, she's like talking about being a circus animal, like
Mhm.
where people go and watch you for entertainment and you're putting on a show for people all the time and nobody knows like the actual shit and pain that is going on because you're a human being. You know, the line, you know, you said that that line made you sad, like the most sad. The line that makes me the most sad is don't worry, folks, we took out all of her teeth.
Yeah.
Like we took out the way that she could defend herself because if
Mhm.
she speaks out or if she says anything, all this goes away. So like we can say everything that we want and we can attack on social media, but, like, don't let her say anything back.
Because it's just
Cause
like the internet trolls. If you post something
mhm,
and someone replies saying, like, "Well, you're a piece of shit," and then you
mhm.
say, "Well, you're a piece of shit for replying like this," you
Right.
know? And then
Mhm.
they're like, "Why are you so mean?" It's
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
I just matched your energy."
Exactly.
But she
Yeah.
can't match anyone's energy, because if she did, then she would be, oh god, she would be, like, ran through. Just like
Mhm.
'cause Selena Gomez, she matches people's energy on the
Mhm.
internet, and guess what? People are like, "She's a bitch."
Mhm. She gets ripped for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Taylor can't do that,
Mhm.
and it's really sad. I mean, like, talking like the circus life and everything, and, uh, in the lyric video that I watched, the last line of the song, you know,
Mhm.
it's "Who's afraid of little old me?"
Mhm.
And how it cuts in the lyric video is the only thing that's left that you see for the last few seconds of it is me question
Mm-hmm.
mark. So
Mm-hmm.
it's saying like, is she afraid of herself? And I think
Mm-hmm.
like having the question mark there, she's like questioning that, like, am I afraid of myself? I could
Mm-hmm.
be.
I think there's so much of this album that is her again questioning herself, her mind, her memories, her reality. Like there's so much like almost like she's standing on a branch that she doesn't really know if it's about to break or not, or if the branch is there at all.
Also, like with the bridge too, like
Mhm.
her saying like she's essentially saying that she's just a spectacle.
Mhm.
And it reminded me of the movie Monster House, where all of those kids would stand outside this house
Mhm.
and make fun of this house and say it was creepy and like try to
Yeah.
sneak in and do all of this stuff. And when they actually get in there, they realize that the house is just super sad.
Yeah.
And it's not a mean house. It
Mhm.
has mean reactions to like when people throw things at it, it has a mean reaction.
Mhm.
It's just a reaction to someone doing something cruel to it. So they're like, it's a monster.
Right.
Um, and I think that's exactly what she feels like. She's just like,
Mhm.
you know, they talk about these stories like
Mhm.
in town, like, oh, she's a mean person, you know?
Mhm.
Like what does it say? That she's fearsome, wretched,
Mhm.
wrong. And it's like all of these things that she's like, am I these things?
Mhm.
Or am I just matching energy? One of my friends, I don't know if she'll listen to this, but she told me a
Mhm.
few years ago because
Mhm.
her dad does like road managing things like that for
Mhm.
a bunch of people, and
Mhm.
he actually had an interaction with Taylor Swift like years and years and years ago,
Mhm.
and he said that she was a bitch. And so my friend has like constantly thought that about Taylor Swift, like she's a bitch because of this like one interaction that he had with her.
Mhm.
And I've always thought back to the Kelly, is it Kelly Catrone? Kelly Capone? Whoever it is from the hills that is that
Oh, yeah, Kelly Capone.
Kelly
Yeah.
Capone. Okay.
Mm.
She's like a huge designer
Mhm.
type person. She like ran Vogue for a while or something like
Maybe it is Catrone. Kelly, don't come for us if that's what it is. I don't know. But
I don't
anyways, go
know,
ahead.
whatever she was saying.
For
But
Vogue.
she was talking to
Mhm.
I think it was Lauren and Whitney maybe?
Mhm.
Yeah. And she was talking about this event that she was throwing.
Mhm.
And she was like, I want this to go right. I want this. I want this. I want this. And at the end of it, she was just kind of like, if things don't go right with this event, it's not you who is the helpers. It's me that gets
Mhm.
shit because
Yeah.
my name is on the door. My name gets impacted. So if like
Yeah.
stage lights go wrong, something goes wrong in a performance with Taylor Swift, it's
Mhm.
her name that's going to be in the headline being like Taylor Swift's performance was shit.
Right.
Not because of like, oh, well, the stage light, the audio, the whatever fucks
Right.
up. It's
Right.
her.
Mhm.
So she's like, if she's on stage and she's like, I don't know, kind of like freaky, like we've seen her do that with the Eras tour,
Mhm. Yeah.
like hey, my microphone
Yeah.
isn't working, you
Yeah.
know, like that's
Mhm.
how she's fucking performing, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's her name at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
And her name is the one that's going to get drugged through the mud, not some random fucking assistant who fucked up the audio.
And I think part of that is that she cares about her fans so much
Mhm.
that she wants to do such a good job that she doesn't want anything like when you go to the any of her concerts, but especially the Eras tour,
Mhm.
you can see how much she cares about the show because it's not like she stands there with a guitar for 3 hours and sings. It's a whole show. It's a whole production.
Mhm.
And I get like that's how they make money and whatever. Maybe I'm just like not buying into all that completely. But I also think it's because she cares about her fans and wants it to be worth their time and their money.
I do. So, like, she's not a bitch. She's not
Mhm.
fearsome. She's not wretched. She's not wrong. She just is so focused and so wanting to do the best that she can.
Mhm.
And she's said this multiple times in songs that she's a people pleaser. So like she wants to do all these things. And so if you get frustrated that something's not going right, that is like a human response. And to call someone a bitch for having a human response or having a bad day or whatever the case may be, because I don't know, you broke something that's like very important to a vital show. I don't know the case of like why he called her a bitch. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. I've always defended that, and I always get heated talking about it.
Well, because also, like, there's days nobody has to do anything to me, and I'm just in a bad mood.
Yeah.
What, so she's not allowed to be in a bad mood? I'm not saying that you should go around and treat everybody like shit all the time, but I am saying that, like, we're not, you know, I took a training today, and my trainer is one of our directors, and she said, like, I don't know about you all, but, like, I'm not always my best every single day. I'm not always the best therapist I could be every single day because we're human beings. So, like, why do we have to hold them to this impossible standard? Like, okay, she's supposed to go out and perform these shows for 3.5 hours. It's supposed to be perfect. She's supposed to never respond to anybody online that says anything cruel about her. She's supposed to be overly nice to every single human being that she comes in contact with 100% of the time. Good luck finding anybody that does that. Good luck to you.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's such an impossible standard to hold people to. And, you know, to dive into, like, But Daddy, I Love Him, she kind of talks about, like, I mean, it is like a parasocial relationship. She talks about the Sarahs and Hannahs clutching their pearls, and people be clutching their pearls since this album dropped, because holy shit, a 34-year-old woman says fuck. My God. Don't listen to Ivy. She says goddamn about 50 times.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Ooh, Ivy is so good too. And
such a good song.
It's so funny because, like, I clicked on this song and I was like, you know, because we went into it thinking that it was going to be about, like, a breakup song, album about Joe. And so, like, you have your preconceived notions of what these songs are going to be about based on the title. And this was the second song that I picked. So I listened to Fortnite first because it was a single, but then I listened to But Daddy, I Love Him second. And about midway through, I realized, oh, we are daddy. All of us are daddy.
All of us are daddy.
But
she is, like, literally, because we call her mother.
Yeah.
So she's like, we call her mother, so she's like, daddy. But she really is saying, like throughout the whole song, she's like, I love this person. Why can't you love them? Why can't you see what I see? Why do you only see the, like, bad parts of this person, you know, in the headlines? And, you know, she's like, the funniest part, I love seeing these reaction videos of her being like, I'm having his baby. And it's like, no, I'm not, but you should see your faces. My face was,
Literally. I was doing something and I heard it and I went, actually, no, I didn't do that. I texted you.
Yeah.
I texted you and I was like, but then I didn't correct myself. So I just made you think that she was pregnant for like 5 seconds. But, like,
it was more like 20 minutes because I was listening to it in order, and that's like the 6th or 7th song. So I was like, oh shit, I got a minute.
I got a while to get there. But it's so funny. Like, I'm having his baby. No, I'm not. But you should have seen your faces, you know? And she's kind of like, you look like an idiot. Like, you look stupid right now, believing every single thing that you hear and see.
Why are we all up in her business? That's like another thing that she's saying in this song. Like, she's like, leave me alone. Let me be happy. And I like the line that she's like, if all you want is gray for me, like, if you want me to have a vanilla gray relationship for the rest of my life, then it's just white noise, because I ain't gonna do that shit. I was like, girl, you tell us. You tell us.
Yeah, and then
like, you don't want to be in a vanilla relationship anymore.
Yeah. And then she's like, and it's just my choice. It's not yours. It's not the Sarah's and Hannah's. It's mine.
She says, God save most judgmental creeps who say they want what's best for me, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see, thinking it can change the beat of my heart when he touches me. Bitch, first of all, that was like the most wordy way to say you guys are some judgmental assholes who don't fucking know me, so shut up.
And you guys write paragraphs about how I shouldn't be with him, and I don't even fucking see it, you idiots.
You get on TikTok and you make your videos talking about how bad Maddie Healy is for me. But
Yeah.
guess what? I don't give a fuck because I love his grungy, ratty ass.
But instead, Taylor says, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies.
Like,
please.
And people say that she's a horrible writer. What? You don't even know what any of those words mean. Pick up a dictionary.
After the backlash of this album that's honestly come out, her album next time might be like, fuck you. And what do you think? This is a rap album about how I'm just going to rap about how much I hate everybody all the time.
She says, I'll tell you something right now, which makes me think she literally said it like that. I'll tell you something right now.
And I'm like, tell me, I'm here for it.
I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning. She said, I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. I don't cater to all you vipers dressed in empath's clothing.
Mm. Girl, go off.
Mic fucking drop, Taylor.
And I will say this. She's also talking to me, because was I on board with Maddie Healy? No. But I've learned a lesson. I've been scolded by this song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing it. I'm learning my lesson. I'm doing something different.
You got a little slap, you know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. She like sucked her teeth at us. Like when you're in the grocery store and like you're doing something and your mom just like looks at you. Yeah. That's what this was.
Listen, I will say, okay, so I was in the suite in Nashville for the second night. And I was with like a radio show, 107.5 The River, Nashville. Shout out. Love you guys. And I was sitting there with Ricky, who is one of the radio show hosts. And I noticed, I was like, when Phoebe Bridgers was performing, I was like, that dude was not there last night. Mm-hmm. Then I was like looking closer and I was like, is that Maddie fucking Healy?
Maddie Healy, what are you doing here?
I was like, why is he here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I told her, I was like, oh my God. And she like zoomed in. She was like,
yeah.
And like, I'm in the background of a video that was pinned forever from the Eras tour, where my voice is just like, how embarrassing. But I was excited to see him up there because like, great. Okay. Whatever you think of his persona that he puts out to the world, again, this is another thing of like, we don't know him as a person. We just know the headlines that we've read. Right. And the insane things that he's done on stage, but also it's like a performance too. So like, is it real? Is it not real? Nobody really knows. It's kind of just like, you know, kind of a show. But I do know that he ate raw meat on stage. That was a choice.
It was a choice. And I do think part of it is real just because Taylor alludes to it in the album of being like, I get it. He's a mess. I get it. I can't explain it, but I love him.
Mm-hmm. And I've read somewhere that I think Dumois might have said this too, that like apparently Maddie Healy is like a lot nicer than Calvin Harris, which I can see that because I mean, Calvin Harris is like, he does not want a successful woman in his corner at all.
Yeah.
He was so emasculated by her.
We forgot that you existed, Calvin.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like the 1975's music is good. His songwriting is really good. And he sings really good too. So maybe that's what she saw for sure.
Listen, I really like the song Chocolate. And I really like the song It's Not Living If It's Not With You.
No, but I do like that. And I like So American.
What song do we have next?
We can go into So Long London.
Yeah.
So again, this is like a song that I'm like, this is a double meaning because
Mhm.
Maddie and Joe are both British.
Yeah.
And so the bass drum in this song reminds me of a heartbeat, which she
Mhm.
does this a lot in her songs. Like While the Streams was her heartbeat. You're
Yeah.
Losing Me was her heartbeat. So maybe this is also in some ways her heartbeat too.
Mhm.
Um, and it sounds like, her heart has started up again. So in You're
Mhm.
Losing Me, she says, it's pretty much like a Grey's Anatomy episode of like, you're literally losing me. Like
Mhm.
my heart is no longer stopping. They're having to do CPR on me. And
Mhm.
like now all of a sudden you are like, what's going on? Why is she's dying? She's been dying in front of me forever, but now that she's like trying to leave and trying to get the fuck out,
Mhm.
it's like, oh,
Mhm.
running down the hallway.
Mhm.
So you kind of hear her heartbeat go out, and she says it too, like, my heart won't start anymore.
Mhm.
And this song sounds like her heart is restarting. And so
Mhm.
she is like, the further she gets away from this person, the more her heart is starting up. And it also sounds
Mhm.
like someone pointed this out to you on TikTok that it sounds like Death by a Thousand Cuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy mother.
I also heard somebody on TikTok say that the "So Long London," like how she sang it at the very beginning,
Mhm.
sound is like supposed to mimic church bells,
Yeah.
like at a wedding.
Hmm.
So, which she makes some wedding references in this song as well.
Because she said, you know, you said that you loved me, but where was the proof? I died on the altar waiting for you. And
Mhm.
again, this proves my fact of when Tree Payne called out Dumois, and
Mhm.
Dumois is like over and over saying that they had a wedding ceremony, and Tree was like, please stop saying that, it's causing trauma. And this like proves again that like
Mhm.
he never took her to the altar. She was
Mhm.
waiting for him to marry her,
Right.
and he never did. So, of course, it's causing her trauma and causing her frustration for this person to continuously say, I know for a damn fact that they had a wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
Uh,
Obviously, Taylor wanted to get married and he did not for whatever reason. So
mhm,
maybe shut the fuck up. And I think Tree Payne doesn't. They don't come out and say a lot. Like when stuff comes out, we don't see them really address anything. But
yeah,
Tree Payne addressed that, and I think that that's why.
yeah, I do too. I think she
Mhm.
said that because it's causing Taylor so much
Mhm.
pain to like constantly hear that. And like that is
Mhm.
traumatizing.
Yeah.
Um, so another line that we talked about in the previous recording. No, no, we didn't.
Recipes.
Yeah. So two graves, one gun.
Mhm.
So I liked your theory on it. You want to say your take? Well, I guess it's not your theory, but like your
Yeah.
take on it.
So when I initially heard it, I thought two graves, one gun. Both graves being Taylor and Joe. Kind of like giving a My Tears Ricochet vibe too.
Mhm,
But we talked about like the double meanings and stuff. I
mhm,
also kind of think that because the heartbreaks were so compounded together, the two graves were her relationship with Joe and her relationship with Maddie both being killed by the same thing.
mhm. So do you think London was like holding the gun?
Yeah. And I also and here's something that I just thought about that kind of confirms my theory. There's been some like Easter egg connections of like Taylor maybe thinking that that Maddie would grow up a little bit
Mhm,
and be able to have like an adult relationship with her.
mhm,
Um and that maybe that's what happened, that she got with him and then he still couldn't hack it. So then like he was still being messy and still he was just not growing up because I think Taylor's at the point in her life where she's ready to like do adult things, you know? And he's just not there. But that would make sense with Joe too. Joe didn't want to get married. Joe didn't want to settle down. Maddie doesn't want to grow up and do these things either. So deaths of two relationships by one cause.
yeah, that is. Oof, that's a good one.
Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm.
Um, I also, how we talked about it, I was like, two graves, one gun tells me like someone had to be alive
Mhm.
to kill the other one before killing
Mhm.
themselves. So
Yeah.
kind of like who killed who type of
Mhm.
situation. So like,
Yeah.
were you the one that killed me and then you killed yourself, or did I kill
Mhm.
you and then I killed myself?
Right. Yeah.
Like who,
Yeah.
which one?
Mhm.
Um, gosh, they're and like this is with Taylor's music is like you can take it however you want. Just
100%. And I
literature
think,
in general.
like, after we film, after we record this podcast, I don't really know how much more speculating I'm gonna put into,
Mhm.
for the simple fact that I think Taylor wants us to take it and relate it to our own life, and
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff I do, I sent a song to my friend the other day, and she was like, "I feel like that Taylor walked into your life the last 2 years and wrote an album about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, because my life's been kind of a disaster the past 2 years." And I think that that's what she wants people to do.
Mhm.
So, like, I think after we, like, record this, I'm gonna kinda, like, step away from, like, is it Maddie or is it Joe? And I think I kinda said this to you of, like, does it really matter? Both of them were poison. So,
Mhm.
Maddie, Joe, pick your poison, but they're both poison. So, like, taking the message and saying, like, how can I use this in my own processing, you know?"
Yeah. Like let's relate this to shitty past relationships that we've had.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or even relate it to
Yes.
like good relationships that we've had
Mhm.
with, you know, the songs that she wrote about Travis.
Yeah.
Like I love So High School. That's probably one of my favorite songs because it is kind of like
Because it
football,
is
high
so high
school.
school. It is
Yeah,
so high
it
school, and,
is.
like, people were using those lyrics and being like, "She's not a good, writer because listen to these lyrics," and I'm like, "It's called It's So High School."
And might I add, the song in general, like the production of the song sounds like an early 2000s like high school movie. Like it
Uh-huh.
literally sounds like a song that would be put into like She's All That,
100%. Yeah.
which I think that's late 90s, but still, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
Around
like
that time period.
John Tucker Must Die.
Uh, Listen, the sequel to that's coming out, and we need to go see it. But anyways,
Seriously?
yeah, they're making a sequel to that.
Oh my god. Sophia Bush in that movie.
Let's
Love her.
we need to talk about Sophia Bush on our next, because
Oh my god, because she just dropped
she
that
just dropped that
interview.
podcast. Yes, yes. We'll talk about that on the next episode. But yeah,
Anyways, love
have you
it.
heard any of it?
I've heard some of it.
Yeah,
I've heard her talk like a little bit, like I've heard pieces of her talking about like how her marriage ended
me
and
too.
then
Yeah,
her talking about Ashlyn
yeah.
and kind of like being like
Whew.
she's never been happier and she's never felt more like herself.
Mhm.
So, which makes me so happy for her.
Yeah, good for you, Sophia. We love you.
Oh, late
Yeah.
in life lesbianism for the win, you know?
Triple L. Triple L.
Have you ever heard that before?
No. I thought you just came up with it. I was like, "Oh my god. That could be like
No.
a catchphrase."
No, I heard that on Dumois a few months ago when they were like speculating that she was with Ashlyn Harris.
Yeah.
And they were like, is this a late in life lesbian thing?
That's gonna go on our merch someday.
Late
Late
in
in life,
life
lesbianism for the
lesbianism.
win. Yeah.
Josh is
Oh,
gonna be
man.
like, are you gay?
No, we're just an ally. We're a supporter of the late in life lesbians. So, do you wanna, like, cover a song, or do you just wanna kinda, like,
I say we just,
put it in a package and be
yeah,
like, "Listen."
wrap it in a bow like the
Yeah.
manuscript.
Yeah.
So basically, Taylor Swift said, fuck you to everybody
Mhm.
for your opinions. Fuck you, Joe. Fuck you, Maddie. Fuck you, Scott. Fuck you, Kim Kardashian,
I
in case
was
you all
gonna say,
forgot.
don't forget, fuck you, Kim. Again, I say, I love that she's, like, weeping in her bed, depressed, can't move, she's in this heartbreak. And I just envisioned her just setting up and being like, oh, and also fuck Kim Kardashian. And then just like going back to her grief. Yeah.
And then waking up again, another thing, Cassandra.
Yeah.
Or I guess she's calling herself Cassandra, but still.
Did you see that Kim Kardashian posted a picture with Karlie Kloss like the day after on her stories? And I was like, you know what?
Why is okay, this bitch can't say she's over it then.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Posted a picture with Karlie. Don't tell me you don't know what you're doing when you do that.
And also, stop telling people when you traumatized her, ruined her life, you know, for just because your husband was a psychopath.
Continues to be.
Yeah, and then like tell her, oh, well, you should get over it. It was like over 10 years ago. Like, get the fuck over it.
As she's posting the picture with Karlie Kloss on her Instagram story.
You get over it.
Yeah.
Why don't you apologize?
Yeah. But yeah, she did say fuck you to everybody who, you know, are haters. But also I think she processed a lot of pain. And as a therapist,
I think that's why she put in that Kim thing, because she was like, this is the last time I've ever talked about this. Bye.
Right. Yeah. And as therapists, that's what we do. That we process pain. And she says in there, in the manuscript, I think, sometimes you have to look backward to go forward, you know?
Yeah.
And we do that in therapy all the time, you know? I have people who come in all the time and they're annoyed because I'm asking them about their childhood and, you know, their life, but that's where things happen, you know? When you pick up all of these bags along the way and then your back starts hurting. So like we have to go through and revisit all the bags on your back. So I think maybe that's why we love it so much, because this is our life and we're so passionate about therapeutic processes, and songwriting is a therapeutic process for her.
It definitely is, because I mean, like you said, like you have to go back through all of that to figure out why you're still doing X, Y, and Z. Like maybe she had to go through this and write these songs to realize like, oh, in future relationships, this is what I need to look out for, because this happened to me. So let me look out for X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And that's exactly what we do with our clients. We're like, okay, why are you picking these people that continue to treat you this way? Let's go back. Let's keep going back until we pinpoint the moment.
With the push pin, with the target, maybe she's targeting the moment because Joe and Maddie seem to have ended similarly. You know? Sure. And all of these heartbreaks that people get annoyed and about her writing about, they all seem to end in this similar way, except for Taylor Lautner, of like, you know, all too well, she feels like she's used up and spit out, you know? It's kind of is the same way with like these two guys. So like, I do think that this for her has it's been a good look back, and I think that we will see a change in writing from now on. I could be wrong. There's rumors of a third album, all that good stuff, but
I've heard those rumors too, and I actually woke up today because I had a dream that she dropped a third album, and you had texted me and you were like, she just dropped a third album. And yeah, I woke up and I was actually like really sad that she hadn't dropped a third album, but it's just like we have 31 songs to go through, so I don't really care if she drops another album for a long time. Girl, take your rest, do the Eras tour. We'll be fine. We got a lot of songs that I'm still hearing new things with every day.
Yeah. So
live your life, Taylor.
Live it up. We love you.
We do.
So we will go through though all of her lore. Maybe not even all of it, but at least some of it in our next episode. Hopefully we don't have any issues recording like we have had this week.
Been a headache.
So yeah,
for sure.
In between now and then, everybody go listen to the Tortured Poets Department.
Heck yeah.
You won't regret it. Report back your findings.
Let us know.
Yeah.
So, bye guys.
Love you, bye.